Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, clouds of all ages, welcome to the most entertaining and educational show in crypto, the Sanctum Forecast. Hi, my name is Eno. I am the Chief Vibes Officer over at Sanctum. You can see that it's currently very sunny because I am in Europe. Usually I'm doing these streams at about 11 p.m. or 10 p.m. sometimes. Feels really weird to do this at 4 p.m. Feels good to be in Europe. It's bright over here. If you're in Paris, please do hit me up. So why are we here? Of course, we're here to talk about all things about the Sanctosphere. And what exactly is the Sanctosphere? Well, we talk about bullish news, right? All the reasons to be bullish around cloud, as well as the Sanctosphere, as well as all the delightful products. Of course, Sanctum builds the most delightful products on Solana. And last but not least, to talk about the Sanctum governance machine. How do we bring the most economic value to cloud? And of course, we're doing it all with the most earnest cloud fam. And we're here to build Sanctum together as one big family. If you've been paying attention to the vibes on the timeline, I get it. It doesn't feel all that great right now. But the thing is, if it doesn't feel all that great, it means that you're too focused on short-term price action and you're not focused on the fundamentals, which is way more important, right? Which is why we need to go over a few house rules. Number one, definitely want you guys to spam the chat. We already see a little bit of spam here. We got Coletta. That's BK. Whoops. Hey, BK. How are you? We got Coletta. Hey, I think I'm going to Crossroads. I'll see you there, brother. Boopable. Ooh, Boop is going to be working with us from going forward. He's on a trial basis, but we'd love to see you, Boop. We got some really fun video ideas planned out for you. Flog Ross, of course. Flog, it's very good to see you, my brother. I know you wake up really early for these things. It's very, very early in your time zone, so I really appreciate that. Lucio! I haven't seen Lucio in a while. How are you, brother? It's been a long time. And of course, we got Nick. Nick is on the comments, and I keep double clicking on stuff that I shouldn't be double clicking on. Nick, I'm going to bring you on real quick. Nick actually came to his first Sanctum offsite last week. You were visiting Singapore. How was that?
Yeah, it was great. Everybody got together and we had great discussions, and also like consolidate on like the team ideas, what we're building and where we're heading like in the future. And also I got this cool merch.
Yeah, maybe don't rub that in right now. We got some merch
Okay.
to ship out for other people. What are you doing? Are you trying to make people feel bad? All right, we're taking Nick off for just a second. But of course, we love seeing you guys spam the chat. Flock says, "Sup, Nick Fury?" We love Nick. Nick does a lot of hard work around here. Also, we need you guys to think long term. Again, like I say this every single week, I can't stand it when people are like, "Oh man, just like look at the market." If the only thing you care about is the market, then you're not here for the right reasons. We're here to build actual value and bring value back to our users. And in the long term, right? If you position yourself correctly, when the market corrects itself, then you will be equal, positioned to take advantage of those opportunities. We need you to be thoughtful and kind. Of course, we love it when people treat each other with kindness. I know sometimes people can be a little snippy on the timeline. I myself got into a Twitter spat yesterday with the Solana All-Stars. Sorry about that, guys. Love you. No disrespect. But you can always treat people who are upset with you with thoughtfulness and kindness. And of course, we want you to have a good time. Now, every single week, we give 50 USDC for the best forecast thread on X. This week's winner is, drum roll, please, is Web3 Royal. If you're wondering why I'm laughing, and if you watch this, if you watch the stream enough, you know why I'm laughing. It's because Web3 Roy is a 3-time winner. If you scan that QR code, you can see he put a lot of. Look, Roy. I'll be completely honest with you, bro. I didn't want to give it to you this week. I wanted to give it to someone else. But the fact of the matter is, you put a lot of time, effort, blood, sweat, tears into it. You also made like a custom media article just for the forecast. I really appreciate the effort, and we got to reward it. So, Roy, congratulations on being a 3-time winner. At this point, you've won almost half of all the forecast threads. So that is a very, impressive hat trick, let's call it. In terms of honorable mentions, of course, we have Nenye, Wisdom, a new entrant, Lotus. I've actually never seen Lotus write a forecast thread before, but Lotus, it's very good to see you be a part of the Sanctum community. And Crypto John, last week's winner. It's good to see you as well. But definitely, these folks deserve the honorable mentions for the week. Today's agenda is very pared down, right? We're actually going to have a very extensive conversation with a good friend of mine who's building on top of Sanctum for his own protocol. I had the pleasure of meeting him in Dubai, and I have a really good time speaking with him, just personally. So actually, I hope that you also enjoy the pleasure of his company. We will be having a long, extended fire chat with him, and then of course we will not only will be speaking with this mystery friend, but also we'll be talking about what to expect in the future. So those are the two main things that we're going to be covering. This is going to be a little bit of a shorter forecast, but that's totally fine. I am done talking. I have a very big mouth. So without further ado, I'm going to bring onto the stage a very close personal friend of mine. Please welcome Shri from Credible Finance. Hey, Shri. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How's it going?
It's going pretty good, man. Let's get W's in the chat for Credible. Just put W Credible, Dub Credible. I want to see people spam in the chat. So Shri, give it, dude. We've known each other at this point probably for over a year, because I think the first time we ever met was in Dubai at Foundersville, if I'm not mistaken. Could you? Is my memory correct, or am I completely wrong?
I think we met in Kuala Lumpur at Solana Summit.
Oh, did we? Okay, I see.
No, we met at Hacker House. You're right. We met in Dubai first at Hacker House, and then the Kuala Lumpur Solana Summit, and I think and then Foundersville as well. Yeah.
Right. Look, you got a lot of love in the chat, man. W Credible, and I just want to ask, do you remember the Dubai floods? I mean, you can't forget the Dubai floods, right?
Absolutely. The funny thing is, I ended up making a lot of friends on that day because I was doing a podcast with Alex from Super Team. And we were in the Morningstar Ventures office, and we went in dry, right? Like there was no floods, nothing. It was a really nice sunny morning. And during the podcast, few guys came and said, "Okay, look outside." And then we were like, "Oh shit!" Like we were stuck there for at least 3 to 4 hours, and then just decided to take our chance. And I actually walked back all the way. I think at least 10 kilometers that day. Yeah,
that is great. I mean, look, so. Before we get into it, I mean, I just love this story because if you were on Twitter at that time, then there's no way that you wouldn't know. It took over the timeline. But basically what happened was we had a Dubai hacker house last year around March, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong there, but it was around March-ish. So we had a Dubai hacker house, and on the first day it was great. I mean, it was a little hot, but it was a good day. It was a perfect day. And then the second day when we woke up, it was just everything was flooded. Dubai had historical biblical rains, and their kind of local infrastructure at the time couldn't handle the amount of rain. And then for the second day, I think Shri had a very similar experience to me. I ended up getting stuck in the hotel lobby where all the super teams were staying, as well as like a bunch of other folks that were staying in that hotel. I think it was the Kapinski at the mall. And I actually ended up making a bunch of friends that day as well, because it's like at a normal event where there's a bunch of side events, like you only get to talk to people for like, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes. But like we spent hours of the day with the same people because it was impossible to move, which actually ended up creating like a weird kind of trauma bonding experience. So I mean,
so I was staying, I got one guy with me. He's also a startup founder in the Solana ecosystem, and his place was like at least 20 kilometers away. So he had stayed with me, and we ended up eating like some strange street food, and it was quite a day, but it was good brainstorming. It was like, I think it was good in terms of getting to know Solana for me specifically, because for me it was the first Solana event, that hacker house. And at the hacker house, I was a bit like, I'm in general not very social person. So for me, like just walking up to a lot of people and saying hi, hello is not normal. But I was feeling overly happy. Okay, now I'm stuck here with these guys. Let's get to know everyone. So
actually, could you tell us a little bit about your Solana journey? Like, what made you curious about the ecosystem? Like, why did you come and kind of check out the hacker house in the first place, and what convinced you to stay?
Yeah, so I'll tell you, so before this, I was a founder of healthcare financing company, which got acquired in 2023. And the healthcare company was quite similar to what we are doing right now. And I was looking for a blockchain. Everyone was talking about Ethereum, EVM this, EVM that. It was looking like a buffet to me. And like Solana, I always looked at from a gaming or like entertainment perspective, because most of, even on the India side, like we know a lot of stand-up comedians and stuff who are associated with Solana. So
Are
it
you
was a bit
talking
of,
about Tanmay? Are you talking about
yes,
Tanmay?
yes, yes, Tanmay. So I was like, I was like, okay, it's probably a chain for only entertainment business. And after my company got acquired, I actually worked on two consulting gigs, both in the entertainment space. One with a company that is also building in Solana, on Solana. So I was like, okay, let's just explore. And I was not 100% sure before Hacker House that I will build on Solana. But after Hacker House, I was like, okay, it will be not boring. So that was the first reaction. I mean, I got
Yeah.
to know you, right? Like you're one of the most fun person I know, right?
That is not
And
true. Thank you for that, though.
I mean, that's the reason I'm like, okay, let's stay on Solana so that I can get to meet more people like Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, so nice try with the flattery, asshole. But I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Actually, so the thing is that Shri hit me up yesterday, and he's like, "Yo, like, let's talk. Like, we just built this thing." I'm like, "Oh," and I'm so excited to talk about the thing that you built. But still, I want to talk about like kind of the longer term vision for Credible, and like since you've been building on Solana for the last year, it's kind of like what have been the learnings. Also, I know that you guys are going through a bit of a transition, but I'm actually really excited for. Actually, it's not even a transition; it's more like you already have all this stuff that you built, and now it's just like a very specific area of focus that you're honing in on. So it's not even like a change in the business. It's more like a focusing of the business on a very specific use case. And we will get to that. But yeah, would love for you to kind of just walk us through like Credible Finance, its early beginnings. Perhaps you even started it on a different chain and now you're just building on, or did you just start it on Solana? So would love to hear the full.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so would love to hear the full story. Tell us all about Credible Finance, Sri.
Right. I think I will, before jumping into, like what is Credible, I would like to give a bit of a background, like how we got started and what is exactly the vision of Credible is. So we started with the mindset, okay, I want to do real world financing, but add the blockchain element to it because I want to go global, right? Before this, the healthcare financing company that I had was Indian, but prior to that, I worked in multiple technical roles, especially in the European market. So I wanted to do something that is global, but in the credit space. That was the whole idea. After getting interfaced with multiple lending borrowing protocols, I realized the biggest problem that Web3 has in terms of credit is it is always over collateralized. You always have to carry more bags of assets or cash in order to get little, in the name of credit. And that's the problem that I realized on the consumer credit. But I wanted to go slow, right? So I wanted to look at like how we can have some real world financing, and RWO was also a narrative, or it still is probably last year. So I was like, okay, let's put into the RWO narrative, use my
Well, actually,
TradFi.
let's pause there just for a second, right? So there might even be some people here who aren't even that familiar with what you mean by collateralization, over collateralized, and like what you're getting out of it, right? So let's go a little even deeper into that, right? So why do collateralization rates matter for a product like yours?
Yeah. So, for example, let's say, let's talk about bad things, then we will only talk about Ethereum protocols. So, Aave, let's talk about them. If you want to borrow $500 on Aave, you need to deploy at least $1,000+ worth of, say, Ethereum as collateral. Now, this is not just the one problem that you have. Like, you need $1,000 plus worth of Ethereum and interest to borrow against it because you feel like, okay, it's gonna go higher on value, which is very rare now. But the thing is, like, you also have this headache, in the back of your mind that, okay, this is gonna get liquidated if it drops in value by 5%, 10%, 15%. So you have to keep checking, or you need to subscribe to various apps in order to make sure that your liquidation gets notified to you. Now, this is a extremely bad experience. If you want to bring masses on board, they will laugh at you. Okay, is this technology, like, is this blockchain? Is this what you're talking about? And that's like a huge gap. Like, because I come from TradFi, I can see the problem right there. Uh, Fortunately or unfortunately, Web3 folks are so used to of it, because most of them look at it as leverage for trading or something like that. So that from that angle, it's suitable. But if you really want to just borrow money, let's say to pay your bills or buy a new car, it's not realistic to do this.
Right, like how you would do in the normal world, right? So, like current collateralization rates are suited for meme coin trading, and it makes a lot of sense, right? Because you'd want to actually keep that pretty tight, and especially since the base asset is so volatile. But what you're talking about is financing for different use cases. So that's the full context, right? So, yeah, you keep going. Sorry for interrupting you. I just wanted to make sure everyone was on the same page.
Yeah. No, it's really funny, like you said, normal world, because I mean, I genuinely feel Web3 should be the normal world, right? I mean, that's the whole point. Like, if you want to deviate from normal world just to push some technology, it's not the right way of pushing the technology. So I think,
Sure.
yeah. So I think like this is exactly what Credible is doing. We are bringing Web3 credit to normal world. Like we are essentially like creating a journey for the user. Like in the normal world, you get a credit card, right? You get a credit card backed by some security deposit or something if you are buying, if you are getting your first credit card to create your credit history. That's exactly what Credible is doing, where we are saying, okay, you can stake your assets, and based on your staking of assets, we are giving you some initial credit line. This credit line you can spend through the card, or you can withdraw in the form of cash. By cash, I mean actual fiat, and you can spend wherever you want. We have very suitable liquidation mechanisms, which are a lot more comfortable for the borrower compared to what we see in the market, and this makes it a lot more normal than what we see out there. That's the first stage. Second stage is once you start repaying on time, once you start building the credit history with us, we have our own AI model which creates a credit score. We call it Credible Score, and with this score, you eventually get access to no collateral credit. So this is exactly what happens in traditional finance that
Ooh.
we are bringing to Web3.
So tell us more about your no collateral credit product. Like what are the
Yeah.
requirements in terms of credible score for you to achieve such a thing? That literally means that you have some amount of spendable capital that people can spend, and you would do that only if they had a high credit score, a history of repaying back, and you had confidence that they're not just gonna. And also, you would want to set the rates to where it's not like obviously, if someone has a particular credit score, you wouldn't lend them like $1 million USDC right off the bat with no collateral,
Exactly.
right? So I'm just kind of, and you're always keeping that at a safe rate so that like, okay, this is repayable to some degree, especially based on history. So, I mean, tell us more about that product, the no collateral credit.
Yeah. So I'll tell you, like, it's a journey for the user, right? Like, first you get access with staking, with some credit. You repay, you build a score. The score itself actually is a combination of your existing on-chain activity, for which we work with multiple protocols, including like Solid. I see Simon is also here, so shout out to him. And we see that all these protocols have their own way of creating a reputation score, and in case of Credible, we purely focus on the lending and borrowing history of that wallet. So that's one thing that contributes to your score. We also use protocols like WebSC, Glowfish, and all to check your risk exposure. Like if you were exposed to something like JuicePay, or if you were exposed to Tornado Cash, or any of the flagged protocols. So that also contributes to the score. We also check
Oh,
your
really?
age of,
So
yeah,
you also check like activities with protocols that make you feel
yeah.
uncomfortable. Interesting. Okay,
I mean,
interesting.
we have a complete whitelisting mechanism. So, for instance, if I know your Solana address, I can pull your entire transaction history, segregate it, create a score for you, and then like this will be the preliminary score, we call it.
Hmm.
And now on this preliminary score, we combine it with your card transaction. So we have some actual financial transactions that you're doing with us as well, and
Hmm.
this together creates your Credible score. Now, this Credible score, we work with regulated financial institutions in the background. So right now we have 6 financial institutions onboarded
Yeah.
in Thailand, in India, in Philippines, in UAE, and very soon in Nigeria as well. And
Hmm.
these institutions are accepting our Credible score, similar to how they accept like FICO score and all. And this
Oh,
helps
wow.
you. Yeah, so this helps you use your on-chain reputation to get access to no collateral credit. We don't send you just, okay, you have a score, now go and find your loan from one of our partner. We actually we actually are launching a mobile app on which you can just submit this your loan application with the provider in your region, and they will process the credit for you. In
Could you?
certain, yeah, go on.
Sorry. Could you remind me like what countries you're working with
Yeah,
institutions
yeah.
in? Yeah. How?
So for us, number one is Philippines, number two
Hmm.
is Nigeria, then
Mhm.
UAE and India, and Thailand
I see.
is
I
the
see.
yeah.
I see. I see. I see. Sorry, keep going. Keep going. This is all very interesting.
Yeah, so essentially, you're leveraging your on-chain reputation to get no collateral credit access, and this is very useful for the people. For example, in Web3 space, there are remote workers, there are creators, there are just crypto traders. They don't have a local income proof. They don't have access to a simple credit card in their local market because they don't have any form of credit history, right? So we actually generate this credit history for them, partner with their local financing creditor and so on, and give access
Right.
to no collateral credit through that. I mean, in this entire flow, for the user it's seamless. Like for the user, they just are on our app, and they see the scores increasing, and once they're eligible for no collateral, they see that okay, you're eligible for no collateral, and they submit the application. We get it processed from one of our partner in the backend.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a bunch of things that I think are holding back a truly on-chain economy. We all talk about it, right? And quite frankly, a lot of us, I mean, all of us, need this interplay between our fiat accounts as well as our on-chain accounts. But the
Yeah.
only reason why, like, we need to have this interplay is because there are aspects of the so-called real world that don't accept on-chain payments for one thing or another. Like famously, like housing, there are very rare instances in which you can pay for, like, let's say rent or housing with on-chain finance. You have to do most of that just purely through fiat. Also, just like plenty of, I mean, now with services like Cast as well as the Credible credit card, right? You can actually pay for groceries. You can pay for your
Yeah.
everyday living expenses. But just in general, right, it is very hard to participate in the so-called real world with pure on-chain finance. And one of those missing pieces is credit, right? Like you need
Yep.
credit in the real, like not everybody is able to save up all the money that they need to buy things that they need right now, right? And so like a big aspect of this is like obviously with all these other card companies that are popping up, you would assume that at some point in time they're going to have some sort of credit system. You're building that today already, right? So I guess another question that I have is, are you thinking of how to like kind of white labeling this solution, this credit score, or like do you want this to be something that's proprietary to your business and you wouldn't want to share it with anybody? I'm just genuinely curious about the business strategy and what exactly is the thing the thinking there.
Right. So I'll tell you, like the financial services that we are providing, they're actually just a way for us to prove that this credit score works. Credit score is our main product, right? And the whole point of this product is to compete with FICO, to compete with whatever is out there as a credit bureau, because they don't have visibility of like 560 million Web3 users, like all the digital asset holders, and we want to bring that visibility to the traditional finance as well as Web3 finance folks. And that's the whole point. So the score is definitely not exclusively for us. The whole point of making this score is so that others can use it. Fintechs, I already mentioned 6 financial institutions are onboarded. And we want to grow this. Like people will care about their score, their reputation only if there is a large adoption to it. If it is
I
only
see.
for one platform, nobody will care about it.
Right, right. And so now let's get to the juicy stuff, right? This is what I'm most excited about, actually. Like, how the fuck are you working with us? How are you working with Sanctum? And, obviously, if you've been paying attention to this conversation, you've noticed that there have been components that have been about, like, how to make certain like collateral, right? Like how to make your on-chain finance like spendable. And so, Sanctum works on LSTs, right? So like it makes perfect sense that we would partner with you guys and work with you guys to be able to provide this yield on credit cards, right? So actually, just using Jupiter as an example, could you kind of explain like what you're working on top of Sanctum?
Yeah. So, like I mentioned, our first stage is staking backed credit, right? So, when we are staking Sol in the backend, let's say if you pick Jupe for staking your Sol, then we are purchasing Jupe Sol from Sanctum instead of going and staking on, Jupe. We are having only one integration for any of the provider that you want to stake, and then the LST in the backend sits as collateral with us. So Sanctum acts as a, like a single point for us for acquiring any LST and getting access to any form of staking for Sol. So that makes it quite quite usable for us, and most important integration to offer Sol backed credit.
Yeah, right. So like basically what you're saying is that people can spend the yield off their soul on their credible finance credit card / cash card, right?
Uh, Not only yield. For example, let's say, just to remember the good times, like let's say Sol is $200, right? And now you have 5 Sol that you have staked, which is $1,000 worth of Sol that is staked. Uh, the staking yield goes to you directly. We don't take anything from that. But in the back end, when you're staking the Sol, if you pick Jupiter as a way for staking, then we purchase Jupe Sol from Sanctum in the backend instead of calling the staking API or staking integration with Jupiter. So that's one thing, and you get a credit limit of $500 on the card. So now you are getting the yield, plus you have the staking, which is directly on a like a trusted partner like Jupiter, and the entire execution goes through Sanctum, which is another trusted partner. And now you have credit limit, which you can withdraw to your bank account, or you can spend it with the card.
So, like, let's say that I have $1,000 worth of Droop Soul collateral, right? And then I spend $500, or I even, pull out $500 in cash at
Yeah.
an ATM because I'm in Paris, I'm on vacation, right? And I want to use my Droop Soul to work. So, what happens to that Droop Soul? Do I lose half of my collateral, or like, how does that work?
No, I mean you get an invoice end of the month, just like any other credit platform, and then you get 3 days to actually pay the invoice. If you don't pay on time, you will get some warnings, and then the liquidation will happen. But otherwise, you have like the entire month, provided the fluctuation of price is not beyond 40%. So if you see on other platforms it's 20-25%, we keep it at 40% for liquidation.
Yeah. Okay. So that's actually quite high. You have a big tolerance for fluctuation in the base asset. That's why 40% is sexier than 20%. I'm really excited. That sounds pretty cool to build up your on-chain credit score. And I really hope that you guys build up more and more trusted partnerships, especially over in the US. I mean, it is a new era. So that like I can start using my on-chain, because like if I had an on-chain credit score, well, I think it would be pretty good, right? But at the same time, like my off-chain credit score, like I don't have one. I have,
Yeah.
I have no credit in the real world.
I mean, that is exactly the reason why you need credible, right? And
Yeah.
in the US, frankly, we have our biggest LP based out of US. Our
Yeah.
the debt we work with is based out of US, and they also work with 3 to 4 fintechs in the US market. So we will be onboarding, US fintechs to adopt to credible score as well.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hey, Shri, thank you so much for visiting today. I feel, how do you make sure? Oh, okay. We have a W. I really love W because he always comes up with like, and it's just for whatever reason, guys, the comment section is just not showing. My bad. But W asks like, he always asks great questions. How do you make sure someone is not farming his score just to get access to a sizable loan and dip?
Right. So that is exactly the reason we don't provide the credit directly. We go through a local financial, institution. When you're, let's say you're based in Singapore, and we are working with a Singaporean lending institution called Mount Fuji. Now, Mount Fuji is the one which will actually provide the credit. We will provide the liquidity to them in some cases. In some cases, it's like co-lending, where 50% liquidity is from us, 50% is from them. And they will be your, like they will affect your local reputation. They have the ability to even seize your local assets and all if needed. And in case of a country like Singapore, they can even tell your employer and all. So the whole
Yeah.
point is we have this CDeFi architecture where the DeFi liquidity, DeFi scoring, everything is being used by the TradFi framework to provide you no collateral credit. So
Yeah.
this way we also protect ourselves and also meet the requirement for the borrower.
I see. Well, thank you so much for sharing that, Shri. You've been a wonderful guest. Is this everything that I promised and more? I mean, it was a good time to talk about credible finance and the work we're doing together.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks a lot, for having me.
Yeah,
Wonderful
of
chatting.
course. Yeah. Thanks, Shri. Get W's in the chat again for Shri. I don't want a W credible. I want W Shri. SHRI. Nice guy, Shri. You can follow him on Twitter. He is indeed a very nice guy. A little quiet sometimes. You have to crack open that pistachio, but I promise you, he's a really nice guy. So, sorry. Is that accurate, Shri? I mean, it does take a little while for you to get out of your shell.
Yeah, that is true. I'm working on that.
Yeah, no, but like you're genuinely a nice guy. I've interacted with you several times, and we've worked together in different capacities throughout the years. So again, Shri, it was very nice having you on. W Shri says Boopable, and we got another one from Fwog. W Shri, Boopable says, "Damn, that's a pretty cool safeguard." I do agree. Lucio says, "Thank you." So yes, thank you one more time. Really appreciate you taking the time to be here, and we will talk to you soon. All right.
Thanks. Cheers.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Adios. Yes. Yes. Okay. All right. So moving on to what to expect. If you're wondering why today's forecast is so much shorter than we do other forecasts, this will explain it. Well, first of all, of course, we were going to have 50 USDC prize for this forecast. But we're need to answer a couple of questions, and so I will definitely be paying attention to the chat so that we can answer whatever questions you folks have. What is the next proposal? So it's funny enough, we already reworked what we want the mobile app to be. FP is very, very excited for it. And he's also spoken to a bunch of his people that we trust in the ecosystem, gotten feedback from folks. We haven't rewritten Cloud 004, but we definitely have already started the work of what exactly the mobile app would be. But at the same time, we're not trying to rush it. So completely unclear when we are going to rewrite Cloud 004. I mean, it could be in a few months, to be quite frank. And in the meantime, there are other proposals that we want to put up. So you can expect anytime within the next month, we'll get another proposal up. But it probably, no guarantees here, but probably won't be for Sanctum Mobile. Truly, if we're going to talk about it publicly, we want to do it right. We feel that the feedback from the last couple of weeks wasn't that people don't want Sanctum Mobile, it's just they don't know what the hell it is, which is a fair point of view, right? And the second question is, what is the team working on? Have to be careful about what I say here because I think FP wants to make the largest announcements, and there are plenty of announcements to make. But the team is concentrating their efforts around the core. Ironically, when we released that last proposal, Cloud 004, which was about whether or not Sanctum should release a Sanctum mobile app, the number one piece of feedback that we got in opposition to working on the Sanctum mobile app is, well, you guys need to focus on what you do well, right? And it's funny because we're like, oh, well, actually the community is right. And so we are, Nick was here on the offsite last week. And there's been a refocusing of the company around core initiatives. And what does core initiatives means? It means the stuff that makes us money, right? That's what we mean by there's a refocusing. So in 2025, we're much more focused on growing company revenue and making sure that we have the fundamentals there in place. And you're like, oh my God, why are they focusing on the money? Because if we have more money in the war chest, it means that there's things that we can do for cloud. It means there are things that we can do for community, and there's more product that we can build. So it's I almost feel if we had just say hypothetically, and these are not the real numbers. These are I actually don't have access to the Sanctum treasury. I have no idea how much money we have in the bank. But just hypothetically, right? A treasury in which we have $5 million in the bank versus $100 million in the bank, it just means it's a completely different company. And the things that we can do, the people that we can hire, the expansions that we can do are different. And so that's kind of the goalpost for this year is to make sure that we have really strong fundamentals around that. That also means that my role as well is slightly transitioning. Of course, I will always be here. And what's funny is most people don't know that I work for Sanctum part-time, but I do work for Sanctum part-time. I'm putting in full-time hours, but officially speaking, I do work for Sanctum part-time because the company I think needs a few skill sets that I have. I also will be transitioning more to work on core. That does not mean that forecast is going anywhere. But that being said, we are taking a quick pause for a brighter forecast. There are some ideas I have about how to reorganize the forecast show, as well as some of the content that we talk about. And additionally, the team needs my help in other areas, and I do want to focus on those areas so that I can get back to working much more on community and governance. So there is going to be a quick pause for the forecast. How long is that? I'm thinking at the most 2 weeks, but I'm hoping my personal hope is just 1 week for a pause for the forecast. And by the next forecast, I'd like to get FP on so that he can make some of these larger announcements in terms of kind of the refocusing of company agenda and like what are our thoughts on the future. Of course, we think that includes mobile, but we definitely want to get feedback from you folks. We're going to be growing a lot this year, and we want to be able to get back to thinking about Wonderland Season 2. We want to get back to thinking more about like how to create the best governance and how to work on mobile in a way that everyone thinks is very bullish for cloud and for Sanctum. So like those are all things that we definitely want to focus on, and like we're not taking our hand off the steering wheel, but it also means that we need to spend like, let's say, 80% of our time on growing revenue. And how exactly we do that, we will save for a later date, because I don't want to steal FP's thunder. That's basically what FP does all day, is he thinks about the direction and the vision of the company. And he's getting to a place now where he's going to be sharing. So yeah, just Nick should host the forecast, says Fogros. Nick is actually a very good speaker. I'm going to bring Nick on. I'm sure that he's very flattered. Nick, hey, what's up? You would love to be the host of the forecast, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I don't think I'll do like half of your level. Like
but we're not. We don't do that kind of language around here, brother. We don't do it. We only do positive language. That's it. So yeah, I mean, Nick is obviously overqualified to do the forecast. But again, we want to save some of our biggest announcements and be very intentional about how we're messaging some of the latest directions. And Nick, I think you can also agree there are changes that are coming, but the changes are not like. The changes are all related to refocusing on core business. It's not like we're doing something insane or different from what we're doing. It's just that it's almost like we're going all in on a very particular direction. And if we're going to do it, we want to make sure that we do it competently. Okay, sorry, Nick. I'm gonna go back to just kind of talking about what we're doing in the future. So yeah, just to be very clear, there is a refocusing on a couple of key initiatives. These initiatives we already work on and have been working on for years, but now we're just going all in, like all hands on deck. So that's something to be expected. And of course, I love you all. So that's it for this week's forecast. I will see you in about a week or two. If it's quick, then it's going to be, I'm taking a 1 week pause. I'll be back. Let me just look at the calendar. Like right now, it's I'll be back on the 23rd, April 23rd. If not, we'll be back on April 30th. And again, what are we doing? Getting all hands on deck, making sure that we have a very strong strategic point of view, and also rethinking the forecast, the format, how we can make it more entertaining. I have a lot of ideas, and that all just requires time. That requires time to work on. So again, thank you very much for your time, everybody. It was good seeing you. We still, of course, just because we don't have the forecast for the next couple of weeks does not mean that we don't have a contest thread. I will be announcing this from my own personal account, or perhaps even the cloud account. I cloud everyone. I love Sanctum. I appreciate that. I love you guys and Boopable. Love everybody. Love all y'all. You guys are great. And talk to y'all soon, okay? Take it easy. Adios.